Spring training, there's nothing like it. Everyone has hope for the season. Smiles everywhere as the Yankees get ready to play ball.
Teammates. I love the competition. I want to try to win another ring. So it's all fun for me. You know, you put your body through a lot. You know, I'm 36 years old now. It's my 17th season, but I feel like I'm 25 and I'm ready to go.
Gotta love that. CC Sabathia feeling like a kid again, young and old. A nice blend for the Yankees this year. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 2017 Yankees preseason special alongside World Series champ, former Major League All-Star, and the host of the Rob Dibble Show on ESPN Radio. It's Rob Dibble. Quite the introduction. You've accomplished a lot.
Thank you very much.
All right, listen, this time of year, Joe DiMaggio, the Hall of Famer of the Yankees, once said, kind of a kid like having a birthday party. There's a real sense of excitement. Is that how you felt when you were a big leaguer?
I would say yes. And being a Cincinnati Red back then, we always opened up, we were the first game. So, you know, it's a new year. The statistics are all start at zero, for the same for everybody. But, you know, for the first time guys that are making it, it's a dream come true. You know, it's everything you've ever wanted to accomplish. You finally get there, and it's almost like a relief of making the club.
And for the Yankees, there's some familiar faces in the lineup, but there's some new faces, too. And some of those new faces are actually old faces, like Aroldis Chapman. He's back. The flame-throwing closer re-signed with the Yankees. He was dealt to the Cubs last year at the trade deadline. He helped them win a World Series, but he is back in New York to shut the door in the 9th inning. Another key addition for the Yankees in the lineup is the bat of veteran Matt Holliday. He signed a one-year deal with the team for $13 million. He brings a .303 career average and should hit somewhere in the middle of the lineup for Joe Girardi's team. For all the Yankees, it's about winning World Series championships, and by the franchise's standards, it's been a while. Eric Dobratz has a look at what fans can expect from this year's Bronx Bombers.
2009, 8 years ago. That was the last time the Yankees won the World Series. But despite the losses of players like Alex Rodriguez and Mark Teixeira, the Yankees believe they're on the right path to get back to the Fall Classic. What's the old saying? Hope springs eternal? Well, this spring training, there is plenty of hope in Yankee land.
I think we got a good mix. Like I said, we're having fun. It's been loose, and we're playing well.
Driven deep to right field. There it goes. See ya.
Lots of familiar faces from last year's team are gone. Alex Rodriguez and his 696 career home runs, gone. Mark Teixeira and his switch-hitting power and slick fielding, gone.
A walk-off grand slam.
Carlos Beltran and Brian McCann both traded. Now it's up to some young, inexperienced players to step up, and so far, the early reviews are good.
There is a lot of potential. I'm not going to make any prediction. You know, you still got to go out there to play the game. That's the best part about it. And but we have a good team.
With any team, the biggest question is always pitching. Masahiro Tanaka, CC Sabathia, and Michael Pineda lead a staff that has some holes to fill. Reliever Adam Warren, one of several candidates trying to earn a spot in the starting rotation or just solidify a top-flight bullpen.
We have a bunch of guys that not only have good stuff but know how to pitch, and I think that's key these days in the game is you can have the best stuff in the world, but you throw that ball down the middle, you're going to get killed.
This year will be a challenge for manager Joe Girardi. He'll have to mix and match not only on the mound, but also in the field. But Girardi says the young talent in the organization may be the best he's ever seen.
I feel like the minor leagues is really your lifeline. So, and it's what will sustain a team for long runs of championship baseball.
The Yankees start the season with 6 straight road games before coming home for games against Tampa Bay, St. Louis, and the White Sox. The Yankees go to Boston for a big 3-game series on April 25th. I'm Eric Dobratz. John, back to you.
Thank you, Eric. And Rob, great baseball. Championship team starts with great pitching. Eric talked about filling some holes there. Can the Yankees fill the holes in the starting rotation this year?
Well, John, the back end of the bullpen's fantastic. I mean, you know, Adam Warren, Clippard, you know, Betances, and then you get it to Aroldis Chapman. They're going to be great. You know, getting the final 9 outs of the game is going to be no problem. It's getting it to the first 6 innings and getting the bridge there. They had no complete games last year. They didn't have one guy in the starting rotation throw 200 innings. That's going to be their biggest problem.
What is it like knowing you've got this guy who can come in and throw 105 miles an hour and shut the door? Does that make it a little easier on the starters?
It does. It takes the pressure off, and it puts pressure on the other team. The other team has to score early and often because you don't want to see Betances coming out in the 8th inning. You don't want to see Chapman coming out in the 9th inning. And so that's going to be the easiest part of Joe Girardi's job, is managing that bullpen.
Now, if they can pitch, we kind of know they can hit because they have a pretty good lineup, and they made a nice addition this year, bringing Matt Holliday into the fold.
Yeah, you're bringing a guy that's got over a 300 career average. He's hit over 200 home runs in the major leagues, driven in over 1,000. But this guy's a veteran. He's a great clubhouse guy. I mean, his father recruited me at Oklahoma State out of high school years ago. I mean, this is a kid that's been around baseball his entire life. You couldn't get a better veteran to come in and help out the young lineup.
All right, and the Yankees also brought Chris Carter in as another bat, so we may see him produce as well. All right, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, Joe Girardi, he's feeling pretty excited about the team. What does he think? We'll hear from him a little later on. And despite missing all of last year, Greg Bird is knocking on the door of baseball stardom. You're watching the 2017 Yankees Preview Special.
It's going to be a lot of pressure, but you know, it's good pressure. That's what I tell them. So go out and continue to be yourself and continue to have good at-bats and tell guys to get their work in and make sure they're ready to play every single day.
Hitting coach Marcus Timms has been working closely with a lot of the young bats. Gary Sanchez, Greg Bird, and Aaron Judge. The trio hoping to make up for the offensive void left by the retirement of Mark Teixeira. Teixeira hit 409 home runs, drove in nearly 1,300 in his 14-year big league career. His replacement at first is the 24-year-old Bird. After exploding on the major league scene in the late 2015 season, Bird missed all of last year with a torn labrum in his right shoulder. The sweet-swinging lefty had an impressive spring and said he was preparing the whole time to be the Yankees' starting first baseman.
I mean, I prepared in the offseason like I was going to play first. I mean, I think that's the only way to prepare. So now it's just about getting to the season and feeling good in the season and having fun. I mean, we got a good team. I think spring's been good for all of us, so we're having fun and just carry that over.
For you, on a personal note, spring was terrific. You kind of picked up where you left off before the injury. You know, how much work went into that?
Oh, I mean, a lot. It's not over yet either. I mean, there's still a lot of work to be done, too. It's a long season, so we all know that. And like I said, it's been fun, and I think everyone's on board with that. So we're excited to get going.
Just talking to Joe Girardi and Marcus Timms, hitting coach here, and they're really impressed with your approach to the game. They say you're almost like a veteran player. Has that always been that way for you?
I mean, I was lucky enough to come up in a clubhouse full of veterans, so just watching what they did, how they went about their business every day and how they handled themselves, really. I try to emulate them, and I mean, it's served me well, and I'll keep looking up to those veterans.
There's a real buzz of excitement around this Yankees team this year, you know, mostly because of the youth, and the veterans are playing well. But just talk about what you and Gary and potentially Aaron Judge could bring to this lineup.
Yeah, I mean, what Gary did and what Judge did last year was exciting. I was disappointed to not be there with them. But, I mean, I think not only the youth, we got a good, solid group of veteran guys. Obviously, we brought in a few extra ones. We lost a couple, but I think we got a good mix. Like I said, we're having fun. It's been loose, and we're playing well. So we know there's a lot of work to be done, and everyone's on the same page there, and that's the key. That's the key.
You got a taste of playing in New York. Doing it for 162 games, you seem to embrace the fans very well. Do you like that side of it as well?
Yeah, I mean, I love what I do. I like playing baseball. So just playing, being back again is fun. And I mean, they support us. So it's nice to go not only at home but on the road and have fans there to support you. I mean, so we appreciate them and what they do for us.
Emotionally, was it a drain last year, sitting out the whole season with the injury?
It's tough. It's part of it, though. Guys deal with things, and you learn a lot from rehab. So blessing in disguise, whatever you want to call it, but I'm back now and I feel good and I'm excited to go.
I'm going to ask you one last thing. Where did that sweet swing come from?
I don't know. My mom said I was always good at watching and doing what I saw on TV. So my dad never played, and obviously my mom didn't really either, so just watching.
Who did you watch? Who was the guy?
Oh, man, everyone. Any good hitter.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you're a good hitter now, too.
Shoot, maybe some kid will watch me.
And here's a look at one of the many projected starting lineups for the Yankees this year. Veterans Brett Gardner and Jacoby Ellsbury at the top of the order. Catcher Gary Sanchez. Newcomer Matt Holliday fitting in there in the middle of the order. And Greg Bird they have penciled in to hit fifth. Right fielder Aaron Judge could do some damage as well in the 9-hole. And when Didi Gregorius gets healthy and gets back, he'll find his way into the starting lineup. But let's talk a little bit about Greg Bird, Rob. He had that labrum injury to his shoulder. You had that as well. What was that process like getting back for him?
Well, I mean, first of all, it's letting it heal and then regaining your strength. And this kid has such a pretty swing and a beautiful swing. He reminds me of Will Clark or Ken Griffey Jr. He's got great plate discipline where he can take balls and drive them to left with power and with authority. And don't get caught up in all the hype. You know, you're going to have a lot of media people that are going to be pressing you because you're replacing Mark Teixeira. You're replacing A-Rod. You're replacing McCann. You're replacing – they only had 66 home runs last year combined. So that forced them, even with Beltran thrown in there. Don't try to replace those guys. Go out and do what you're capable of doing.
You talk about the plate discipline. How rare is that for a guy who's really a baby when it comes to big league experience?
Well, I mean, the key is this kid's very confident, and he's going to go through, he's going to have peaks and valleys, and it's really surviving those valleys that's really, you know, and he can rely on other guys. I mean, even my former teammate and a guy who's got 5 world championships is going to be around there a lot, Paul O'Neill. He does a lot of stuff like that. So go to those guys, use them, you know, talk to some of the veteran guys. Reggie Jackson is around there all the time. You've got a lot of veteran presence. You know, go to Matt Holliday when you're struggling. So for the young guys, that's why you have to rely on Ellsbury, rely on Gardner. So when you're struggling or you need knowledge on opposing pitchers, because, hey, Chris Sale's going to be no walk in the park. Yeah. Porcello's going to be no walk in the park. Sanchez up in Toronto. You know, you need kind of to get a book in your own mind of how you're going to hit these guys.
I think he's going to be ready. I think he's going to do big things. All right, who will present the biggest problem for the Yankees in the American League East? Will David Price and the Red Sox repeat later on? Rob will be ready to roll with some predictions.
Really?
Well, you have no choice. And when we get back, Joe Girardi tells us what it's like to be a manager for the Yankees. He's been doing it now for 10 years. We'll see you back here in a few minutes.
He's all about family, which is huge for us, you know, and he's all about making us a family and having us all be all in. So it's a lot of fun playing for Joe.
It was especially fun for CC Sabathia in 2009 when manager Joe Girardi led the Yankees to their last World Series title. There's a different sense of excitement this season for Girardi, who heads into his 10th season as Yankees manager. Girardi said spring training was unlike any other.
Probably the biggest difference of any spring training that I've been to, just because of the amount of youth here and how deep our farm system has gotten. We've gotten a chance to watch a lot of them play, and you know, some of them are going to be called upon this year, and they're going to be asked to do some big things, and we think they're ready for the task.
Can you talk about some of those young guys? Obviously, Gary did what he did last year. Greg, you know, had some time off but showed that he can play here. Aaron, I mean, the names go on and on.
They really do, and it's much deeper than that. And you look at guys like Sevy and a lot of the young pitchers that are coming, a guy like Jordan Montgomery and Caprilia and Justice Sheffield, Chance Adams, and then you go to the position players, and Tyler Wade was a young man that has played all over the place, and you know, you look at Gleyber Torres, what he did, and Mateo and Frazier and Fowler and Billy McKinney, and it just goes on and on. And I think that's why we're all so excited, because we think this group is very large, and they're going to contribute in a big way over the next couple of years.
We haven't seen the best of Gary Sanchez yet either, have we?
Well, I mean, he's been really good in spring training as well. I mean, I look at what he's done in spring training, but I mean, he's an exciting young player because he does everything, you know, really almost at an elite level. I mean, so far he's swung the bat at an elite level. He catches at an elite level. He throws at an elite level. And, you know, for me, there's a lot of days I just go, wow.
Right. As a former catcher yourself, that does open eyes for you.
I mean, I've been amazed at his arm strength and some of the throws that he's made in spring training, and his ability to adapt on the run with our pitchers. And I give him a lot of credit coming here and wanting to continue to learn our staff.
And Greg Bird has shown that he looks like he's been hitting big league pitching for years.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't really look like he's missed a beat. And you can never know how a spring training's going to, you know, start a season. You know, some guys have really good spring trainings and they carry it over the start of the season. Some guys have terrible spring trainings, they have a great start. But, I mean, he looks really healthy. He has swung the bat very well, and I think he's going to be a big part of our lineup.
Your pitching staff lets you go on the starting pitching. You happy with some things, and obviously you'd like to see some guys stay healthy the whole year.
Yeah, I mean, obviously Tanaka's thrown the ball really well. Pineda's thrown the ball pretty well. CC, you know, we like where he's at. We know he's a little bit behind. You know, the interesting thing is, you know, the 5 guys for the 2 spots, they've kind of been up and down. That's probably our biggest decision, and we'll spend the most time in spring training deciding who those 2 spots are not sure how much we need a fifth starter right away.
Do you expect Michael to continue his run right through into the regular season?
Well, we sure do. We had a hard time making sense of what he did last year because a lot of the numbers looked really great. And to me, it's just eliminating the mistakes, because his mistakes were hit out of the ballpark, and if he can eliminate a lot of those, and even if they're singles, he can survive those. So that's a big step for him.
For you, 10th year, has it been everything you thought it'd be, being Yankee manager, and would you like to go 10 more years?
Well, I think I've been really blessed to have this opportunity, is the way I look at it. And as far as another 10 years, I go year by year, and I'll look at this year and see where we're at and see what's in, talk to my family and see what's next for me. But I go year by year, and that's all I focus on.
And under Joe Girardi, the Yankees have the best winning percentage of any big league team over the last 9 seasons, better than the Cardinals, the Dodgers, the Angels. All of his teams have won 84 games or more, with his best season coming in 2009 with 103 wins. And Rob, you played against Joe Girardi in his playing days. What were your impressions of him as a player?
Very professional. He's a winner. He's the kind of guy you want on your team. Studied our team as well as anybody could study everybody, and he gets everybody prepared. And I think he's a master at, just like Joe Torre, at getting guys to check their egos at the door, come in here, try to become a family, try to gel together. But it's going to take some time. You got a lot of younger players. Bird, Sanchez, it's going to be their first full season as starters. And Joe Girardi now, he's going to have to be the leader and gel that with all the leader and the older players on the team.
So in his final year of the contract, do you feel like maybe he's the perfect guy to lead this transition of the young guys coming to New York?
Oh, absolutely. First of all, there's nobody better at, when they're not things aren't going well, to handle the media. He keeps a lot of the pressure. It kind of reminds me of Bill Parcells, or Joe Torre, or great managers where, talk about me, don't talk about my club. And Joe Girardi's fantastic that way. And it's very rare to have somebody that, he rarely melts down. Mm-hmm. He rarely loses his composure. And I think that's great for younger guys in their preparation and how to play. It's a long season. It's a marathon, and he's a perfect head coach.
All right, and where are the Yankees going to fit into this always competitive American League East this year? When we come back, we'll play a little over-under with Rob Dibble. What does he think of the Red Sox and the Blue Jays? We'll fill you in when we get back. It's a 162-game schedule, and by the end of the year, they all matter. Here's a look at some of the key dates for the Yankees in 2017. Opening day is April 2nd in Tampa. April 25th, first of many meetings with the Boston Red Sox. Then in early May, New York visits the defending World Series champion Chicago Cubs. August 14th, it's Yankees and Mets in a 4-game crosstown series. The last game on the regular season schedule, October 1st, and will that one have playoff implications? All right, Rob, time to play some games, and you grew up playing games, so you're good with that, right?
I'm great with games.
All right, let's talk about this division here, the American League East and the contenders, with a little over-under. The Red Sox, experts predicting big things from them, 96 wins, over-under.
They won 93 last year. I don't think they're as strong without David Ortiz in the middle of the lineup. So you're not going to get David Price back till mid-May. I go less than 96.
Do you see some of the other bats, picking up the slack left by Ortiz?
If Sandoval comes back strong, Hanley Ramirez has been battling a bad shoulder all spring, and then the younger guys have to step up. You need Mookie Betts to have another great year. Xander Bogaerts looked like he fell off at the end of the season. Pedroia has to stay healthy the whole year. So 96 in the toughest division in baseball, that'll be tough.
As for the Toronto Blue Jays, they've been to the playoffs the last 2 years. Will they make it 3 straight?
I don't think so. I think last year a lot of guys had career years, and Encarnacion is now playing for the Cleveland Indians. So, you take about 130 RBIs out of the middle of the lineup, over 30 home runs, every year out of the middle of that lineup. It's definitely, if I'm a pitcher facing that lineup, they're missing a huge hammer, just like David Ortiz with the Red Sox.
And the Orioles, Buck Showalter always seems to find a way to get his teams in contention. Are they a playoff team this year or not?
I don't think so. Again, they won 87 games with the Blue Jays last year. They were both wild card teams, but they lost the biggest piece in that puzzle. Matt Wieters is gone. He went to the Nationals. You no longer have a really good catcher, defensive catcher, handling that pitching staff. That's going to hurt the Orioles.
Now let's talk now about the Yankees. They're kind of the wild card in the division, maybe in baseball. 90 wins, over or under?
I think they get more than 90 wins. I mean, it's expected that you're supposed to win every year with the Yankees. They won 84 games last year, and they didn't have a great team. They didn't have anybody throw 200 innings, no complete games. The back end of the bullpen is fantastic. They really need the top of that lineup and the bottom of that lineup to get them going. Didi Gregorius, that hurts him having a bad shoulder. But Ellsbury and Gardner, they're the key to this team's success.
Jacoby Ellsbury now going to his 4th year with the Yankees, signed away from the Red Sox. Has he performed to expectations or below in your mind in New York?
I would say below expectations. I mean, he's been able to rely on the Teixeiras and the A-Rods and the McCanns in the last few years. He's got to step up this year. He's got to set the table for, Gary Sanchez, for Matt Holliday, for Greg Bird. That's his job. He and Gardner at the top. That's the key to this lineup.
You talked about no Yankee starter getting 200 innings last year. CC Sabathia, another kind of wild card here. A lot of innings over a lot of years for him. Can he be healthy and deliver for the Yankees this year?
Well, I think if you could get 30, 32 starts out of him, that's huge. He only threw 170-something innings last year. He's never going to be that 220 guy ever again. But, as a mainstay and a guy that could be a leader as far as that rotation, he's going to be perfect for them.
Does Joe Girardi have to win this year, do you think?
Well, he's in the last year of his contract, so he's definitely, the Steinbrenners want him to win. But if he doesn't win and he gets these guys like Greg Bird and Sanchez and maybe some Aaron Judge, some of these guys to play better than expectations, I think he stays.
Who wins the whole thing? Are the Indians a team to beat in baseball?
Oh, definitely. I go with the 2 teams that were in the World Series last year. The Indians, they retooled, reloaded. They brought in Encarnacion. They're going to be really tough to beat come playoff time.
It's going to be a fun season once again in Major League Baseball.
It's going to be fantastic.
Real intriguing in the Bronx, too. That's going to do it for our show tonight. For Rob Dibble, you can check him out on ESPN Radio on The Rob Dibble Show. I'm John Pierson. Thanks for watching. Take care, everyone.